Hi there, welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. My name is Sandra, and I'm so glad you're here.
Today's video is a collaboration with my good friend Sonja over at Domestic Diva DIY. We are going to inspire you with some high-end decor dupes for spring. Mine are all under $5. This project is super easy to do, just a little bit of embellishment on a Dollar Tree bowl and this Dollarama bunny. Glue them together and it's all good. This is the inspiration for this look. I found this sweet little bunny bowl on the Kirklands website. They're asking $36 for it on sale. Let's make it for $4. This little bunny has some pink on him. He's got a sweet little pink nose and some pink eyes with a little bit of black, and his ears are filled in. So I'm not going to color him completely black. I just want to accentuate some of the areas. I'm going to outline the little ears and just give his nose and his mouth some more dimension. The inspiration bunny had sort of like some little dashes all around his neck. It also had some curly cues, but that was not my style, so I decided just to give him these little marks around his neck, and then I'll just repeat it down at the bottom where his legs are. The bowl also had some lined dashes on it, so I'm just going to do the same thing with my marker and just go all the way around the top edge. Once that was complete, I took my thicker Sharpie marker, it's just a fatter one, and went all the way around the top edge of the bowl, and that as well was part of the inspiration. Then I just set everything aside to dry. My bunny needed to be a little bit lower down on the bowl, or the bowl needed to be higher. So I'm just using this ceramic coaster and I flipped it upside down. It's going to give me about another inch of space, so the bowl will be raised up a little bit higher. I'm using my Gorilla Glue clear grip because I want this to be a permanent hold. I'm using the Gorilla Glue clear grip again to attach the bunny to the bowl.
If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that red button. It's right here.
I dug through my stash of Easter supplies and found this sweet bunny. I love him with his little carrot, but he's going to get a makeover. The first thing I'm going to do is give him one coat of black chalk paint, making sure I get into the majority of the grooves for him. Once the paint was dry, I'm going to take some candle wax and just rub it over the areas that I want to distress later. This is going to help me to just pull off the paint and reveal the black underneath. I'm going to do this in the majority of spaces on the bunny that are raised up and that would naturally wear. Here he is all waxed up, and now I'm going to give him a coat of white chalk paint. I'm not going to be too liberal with the white chalk paint. If there's a little bit of black showing through, that's all right, because this isn't actually the final coat of paint. Now that the white paint is dry, I'm going to take the wax and go over him again. And this is going to now reveal some of the white paint when I take some of the gray paint off, which will be my next coat. So this is just a really fun way to distress rather than sanding things down, especially on a piece like this that has a lot of texture. I'm using a dark charcoal gray for this, and I'm using a different brush this time because I really want to get into all of the cracks and crevices of this bunny and make sure that he's completely covered. I almost forgot to show you the inspiration for this piece. This is again a Kirkland's item, and it's an outdoor statue for $30. I picked up my bunny last year for $3.50. Sonja over at Domestic Diva DIY is collaborating with me today, and she's also going to be bringing you some spring-inspired looks for less. Make sure when you're done watching my video, you go down to my description box, click on the link to her video, hit the like button, and subscribe to her channel and give her your support. I'm using my Cricut scraper to pull off all of the wax, but you don't have to use that. A credit card or any type of hard plastic material will work just fine. And you can see that in some areas there's white coming through and in other areas there's black coming through. So doing that double layered waxing effect really gave a lot of texture to this rabbit. I really like how he turned out. You let me know what you think. For this project, I'm using two of my Dollarama bunnies again, taking my flat Rust-Oleum matte finish spray paint. This is just the clear, and what this does is take some of the shine away from these bunnies so the paint has a better opportunity to stick. I'm going to give these two bunnies a few coats of white chalk paint. I did have to go over this 3 times to make sure that I got really good coverage, but I really liked the little dimpled texture of these rabbits because it still showed up even with 3 coats of paint. These are my inspiration bunnies for this project. They're a pair of salt and pepper shakers with these botanical prints on them, and I thought they were so sweet, but they're $30. Each of my bunnies only cost $2.50, and even though they're not salt and pepper shakers, I think they're still pretty cute. I love creating tissue paper transfers. That's what I'm going to call them from now on because they are transferring an image onto an object. You use tissue paper to print off using your regular printer, a LaserJet or an inkjet. I have an inkjet. It works just fine. You use Mod Podge and you attach it to your project. Make sure you have some Mod Podge on your item first and then very gently lay your tissue paper on top. When you're smoothing it out, I always like to start from the middle and work my way out and always have a good amount of Mod Podge on my brush so I don't tear the tissue paper. Once they were dry, I sprayed them with a clear sealer. This one happened to have a little bit of shine to it, and I really love how they turned out. I was lucky enough to find one of these sweet boards at the Dollar Tree. We don't get very many of these either up here in Canada, so I was really excited to find this. Instead of filling those 2 little holes from the twine, I'm just going to go ahead and use my box cutter and just trim off that edge. Here's the inspiration piece for this project. Again, it's from Kirklands, and they're asking $80.99 for a Happy Easter sign that you're going to place in your home for about a month. I went over to the Cricut Design Space app and built a stencil out of bunnies. And all I did was create one set of 3 different bunnies, and then I duplicated it and cut it out twice. Now I'm weeding it out to create a stencil instead of using it for vinyl. I've started using this paper transfer tape. I got a big roll, and I want to thank those of you who recommended the Vinyl Ease brand to me because this is what I'm using. And now I'm just going to place both of these stencils right on top of my Dollar Tree board. So the way my machine cut out these stencils is they put it always really close together so you can save on your vinyl. So I'm going to need to put some tape or something down so I don't muck up the rest of my sign. I'm just cutting up the pieces of transfer tape that I used to apply the stencil to my board, and that's just going to give me a little bit of protection and also do double duty for that transfer tape rather than just wadding it up and throwing it in the trash right away. I'm going to use some different colors for my sign rather than the inspiration colors. I just found that they were a little too bright, but I liked the look of the sign. So I'm going to use a light blue, a green, and a gray, and always use a makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree to apply my stencils. This first color is not a chalk paint, it's just an acrylic paint, so I had to do a few coats to get the color that I wanted, but the other ones covered really well. I still really love the reveal when you're pulling off painter's tape or you're pulling off a stencil. I don't know what it is about this, but it just makes my heart happy. I wrote the word happy in pencil first, and now I'm just taking a blue marker and I'm going to go over the letters. And this marker is meant for glass, and it was just from the dollar store. It was kind of already fading, but I really liked the look of it because it made it look distressed right away. The only other thing that I did to the letters was add a little bit of white shading to the outside of it just to make them pop a little bit more. For the word Easter, I just cut out some letters on white vinyl and I'm just going to put them in each of the bunnies. I like how the colors on this sign are more muted and I think it turned out really cute. This last project is another one of my craft kits. Now, this was an inspired look, and this is my inspiration. When I saw it, I just thought, I've got to make a craft kit out of this. I don't know how much this would have cost retail because the website that it was on didn't have any pricing. So what I did was just create my own version of this and I cut it out of some 1/4 inch plywood and I cut it out twice because I want it to be thicker. So what I'm doing here is just cleaning off some of the charred edges. If you're going to be painting these edges a lighter color, white or cream, you're going to want to seal them first. And I've never done this before because I always liked that charred edge to show. I like the rustic. But for this project, I wanted to seal it up because I want to paint this white. So Mod Podge does the trick. This is the first time I tried Mod Podge. I just wanted to experiment and see how it worked, and it was excellent. So just make sure you just put a nice thick coat on and it will just soak right into all of those cut edges and block any staining from happening. So as I said, there's two of them and I'm going to use some wood glue and glue them together so it creates a 1/2 inch piece instead of a 1/4 inch piece. Wood glue is really important to use for this. It'll make it nice and flat. You won't have any lumps and bumps. Sometimes hot glue just leaves a bit of a gap. I'm also going to be using some clamps to hold this all in place while the wood glue has a chance to set up. You also want to clean off any of the wood glue that seeps out in between because it does dry chunky. I let this sit for about 20 minutes to make sure that the glue had a good chance to set up. And now I'm going to give it a couple of coats of chalk paint. The only place where I'm not going to paint is that very bottom edge because that's where I'm going to be gluing it onto the base. And it's better to have the wood glued to wood rather than paint glued to wood. What I really liked about this Inspiration piece is that it was distressed. Now you don't have to distress it. If you like it solid white, then just leave it. Do what makes you happy. I'm going to distress it because that's what makes me happy. This is the part that I was talking about earlier when I said I wasn't going to paint it. I'm just going to use hot glue and attach it to this base piece. This is a piece of cedar that's already been stained. So you'll get the 2 bunny pieces and the wood base in this craft kit. It's a really simple project, but I think it has a really beautiful high-end look. I hope you enjoyed these spring inspiration high-end decor dupes for under $5. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That gets me noticed more on YouTube and helps my channel grow. If you haven't yet subscribed, that black arrow will point you in the right direction. And if you hit that notification bell, you'll get reminded every time I upload something new. Thank you so much for spending some of your very important time with me. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Bye for now.